It's time for the Shop Report with...
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. Joining me on the show today, as always, none other than my cap from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park, Brother Rich. Brother Rich, what's happening, man?
I'm good, my brother, my friend. Always honored to be on with you again.
All right. I don't know if I believe you, but I appreciate you. And on the other side of the ledger, my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
Honor and a pleasure as always. Looking forward to diving into today's topic.
Okay. Did you read that off the paper at the top of the paper or the bottom of the paper? Because I don't believe you either. I think I get the feeling, man. I get the feeling you and Brother Rich, man, y'all be conspiring behind my back, man. What's going on, man? What's happening? Talk to me. Tell me what's really happening, man. Y'all getting ready to put together a podcast? The Brother Rich and Double J Hour, is that what this is? Y'all cutting me out the mix? Man, you ain't no way to worry. Y'all not about to do me like they did.
This is the one and only, just for the record, this is the one and only podcast I intend to be a part of.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, wow, Reed. I'm so glad I got my I'm so glad I got my boots on. Anyway, here's what's on the menu for today. Is Steve Kerr a good coach? And I'm sure one of our hosts or panel members here got a lot to say about that. The Women's World Cup. Now, I'm not big on soccer like my two co-hosts are, but I'll tell you what, the Women's World Cup, is it a big deal or not? And, of course, none other than the Los Angeles Lakers and this whole cap ramifications of the AD deal. And, of course, or I would say last but not least, but it's not because we do have a bonus question for the day. But this one here is ESPN shutting down my man Triple B, a.k.a. LeVar Ball. But up first, let's talk about this whole celebration of Juneteenth. Brother Richard, you familiar with this Juneteenth celebration thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't really sound like. What about you, Double J?
Of course.
Okay, I don't make me get the bell on you, man. If you hear me, I'll bring it to you. You got to come right back. Bang, bang, bam. Okay, you said of course. All right. Well, let me go on a little mini rant right quick about this whole Juneteenth thing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You know me. I'd lie for you before I would to you. I'd heard the term before or the name, but I didn't know what it was. I'm on my Facebook page or looking at my thread a couple of days ago, and that's all I'm seeing. I'm scrolling Juneteenth, celebrating Juneteenth. And one in particular that caught my eye was somebody put a post up about, Google does these little doodles to celebrate whatever it is. You get what I mean? And they didn't do one for Juneteenth. So somebody said, well, in honor of, since Google didn't do one, I'm doing one. It had some, where a person was in chains, and the chains broke, so on and so forth. Listen, by no means am I here to offend anyone that does celebrate it or think it's worthy of celebration, or those who don't, because I want people to just be mindful, or remind people, should I say, that when we do the shop thing, when we do this barbershop, this shop report, the shop report is sports commentary from a barbershop perspective. Now, it's primary, that's our primary subject and topics and so on and so forth, but we do, because the shop is a cornerstone of every community, we have to add a community element to this, man, because there are people from all walks of life that go to the barbershop to get their hair cut. What culture or nationality do you know that don't go to the shop or barbershop and get cut? Okay? All right. So, therefore, this is what I'm going to say about Juneteenth. It was a signed document that when you fast forward to 2019, what the mick does it mean? I'm so sick and tired of people celebrating things that they really don't really understand the full connotations behind why this thing should be celebrated. Or people who repeat things like expressions and not really understanding what the expression really means, but they're repeating it because it sounds good, and it's something that they forefathers, that they parents and they parents' parents and they parents, and they grew up with it. You get what I'm trying to tell you? I'm here to question. That's what I do. That's the first thing that my parents and my grandparents taught me. Now, you do so in a respectful manner if you're questioning something we said, but you have your own mind. You don't follow nobody else's path. You cut your own and leave a trail. And then my grandfather would say, well, in some cases, though, follow the leader is cool, but it depends on where that leader is leading you, what they're leading you to. You see what I'm saying? You got dudes out here sagging, being different. I ain't following that. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? If that makes any sense whatsoever. Let me read to you with this whole deal about Juneteenth. It's an American holiday that commemorates. Pay attention to that word now. The June 19th, 1865 announcement of the abolition of slavery in the U.S. state of Texas in particular, and the emancipation of. You're celebrating a myth is what I say. Because again, fast forward to today. What are we free from? When I sit and turn the TV on and I see people of color being gunned down in cold blood, we free from what? Physically? Oh, okay. But it's the mentality that lingers on. And I'll be remiss. Let me add this in. Me personally, when I encounter people, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your color is. And you all have heard me say this on the show before. I was taught to deal with character first. I deal with the color aspect of it if that's the hand that you show me. Do you understand? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your name is. I don't care where you're from. If what you're doing lines up with what I'm doing, betterment versus detriment, then what difference do your color make to me? It's when you come out that bag is when I'm going to have to show you that I'm prepared to come out of that bag too. So this ain't no color thing. This is a celebration of a myth. What are you celebrating? Brother Richard, help me out with this, man. If I'm wrong now, because that's why you on this program. That's why Double J is on this program. We don't always agree. We're not supposed to. You understand? What's right is right and what's wrong got to be addressed. If what I just said and anything in relation to is wrong, Brother Rich, have at it.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, so there's nothing to take away or add to that.
Okay. Got you. Got you. Double J, what about you?
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
You see what I'm saying? See what I mean? And for all those out there who listening and can't see us, this is a culturally diverse program that we dealing with here. Huh? This is a culturally diverse program. So I'd like for somebody to tell me, any of our listeners, all 12 of them, with all due respect, and mad shout out to those who follow the Shop Report. I got to say that as always, because we are of the people, not above the people. It is the people that make us who we are. But I'd like for all those that's out there that's listening, even if you're not responding today, because, of course, it's being pre-recorded. But when we put this out there, you got some, hey, email us. Hit us up on our page. We got a comment section. Let me know. If you disagree, fine. But rest assured, if you disagree with me, it has to be a disagreement with some level of intelligence, and decorum. You know what I mean? All this anatomy stuff that folks be using because they don't have the intelligence to respond intelligently. They want to cross the line with all of this anatomy type stuff. But anyway, I digress. I asked a question at the beginning of this program. Is Steve Kerr a good coach? Brother Rich and I have had conversations in regards to this matter, off air. And I'm telling y'all know I'm long-winded. Y'all know I get down. But I'm going to say this to you, man. When Brother Rich, when we broached this subject, Brother Rich got to spitting on it, I had to fall back, man. I had to fall back. I had to listen. The man was spitting fire. So, Brother Rich, the floor is yours. Is Steve Kerr a good coach, in your opinion? In any opinion?
I do not think Steve Kerr is a good coach.
Ah, okay.
What I have come to respect about Steve Kerr is he applies the Phil Jackson personnel management philosophy to basketball with the kind of talent that you don't necessarily have to coach. You just have to manage the ego.
Gotcha.
And I think that's what we have in the Golden State Warriors. That Steve Kerr, because he's a former player, and he played with, of all people, the GOAT, undisputably the GOAT. Because he played with Jordan, and because he was a tremendous contributor, his affiliation, his being an understudy of Phil Jackson, from the Phil Jackson tree, if you will, gives him tremendous credibility among these very sophisticated modern-day elite super athletes, you would say, because of the kind of money they're making. So
Gotcha.
their egos are very fragile. You have to. It's more about, and I think that's more than anything. That's what he got from Phil Jackson, and that's what he's able to contribute in terms of his ability to coach. I do not think that that Steve Kerr is a good basketball coach. Remember now.
You mean in terms of X's and O's?
In terms of X's and O's. Remember
Gotcha.
now. Phil Jackson was not an X and O man.
Thank you.
We know now who
Thank
the
you.
X and O man was. Phil Jackson was the man that managed the egos, that sat with the players and taught them to look within yourself. Taught them certain things about themselves and kept the egos in check that allowed them up to a certain point. And each time, it never worked a long time. That's why Phil's run had to be with the Bulls for a little while. Then you can't manage that anymore. You can't manage all the egos,
Right.
because the NBA, we know, it's just, and then so you come over to the Lakers, you manage that for a little while, you get them run, then you go to New York and you think you can manage, but New York is a market of egos in and out. You got the media, you got other, so he couldn't really manage that as well as we see.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I think Phil was better more so on the sidelines, so to speak, than he was in the front office.
Fact.
That front office. And I mean, but initially, I won't sit here and lie to you. I'm saying my thought was Phil Jackson anywhere in the building, it was his presence, you know what I mean, that would be infectious, and it would trickle on down. But as we see, as it turns out, that front office thing, you got to be cut from a different cloth.
In the Laker organization, yes. In the team, running a team, but in the city where the Knicks haven't been relevant in 1,000 years, people would come, who are you? I mean, first of all, you're from the West Coast, and you're coming to New York, and nobody cares about what you're bringing. You came from the Bulls and the Lakers. But this is New York. Yeah, nobody cares.
But Phil played with the Knicks, though. Wasn't he on that championship
team?
Yeah,
but here's the thing. This is why we talk about the Knicks haven't been relevant. So you're talking about you're coming to New York at a time where the guy who's everybody on that front row sitting next to your bench, they make $1 billion a year, and you're unimportant to them in terms of. And those guys that you're coaching, you guys haven't won anything. So you got off the court, on the court, management. You got Dolan as an owner. You got the Garden. You got a lot of stuff that Phil. But so people are like, okay, who's this guy again? He played with the Knicks, but they don't know him in terms. He's not even as recent as the Patrick Ewing era. He's a time where most of the people who are Knicks fans today don't even know. They can't even remember when Phil Jackson played for the Knicks. Let's be real.
There's the bell. Double J, have your say.
Well, I have mixed emotions on it because, to Brother Rich's point, his biggest claim to fame was being able to manage those personalities. And in my opinion, where I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt was being able to assess when he first took the job that they were not they were actually a good defensive team, but where they were offensively, despite the amount of points the team was scoring, they were actually, from their efficiency, was really where the opportunity lay. And, of course, you fast forward a couple championships later, it appeared that they had gotten it addressed. But, again, if you look at his career overall, what he's done with teams that lack talent, unfortunately, it's not up to par there. And then speaking of where the initial opportunity was, and you look at what may have cost them this past series and this particular finals, it looked like you were staring in the mirror again. So at that point, that's when I really took a step back and realized that, yes, there was an opportunity there, that he may be one of the problems
Interesting. And is right quick going back to the Chicago Bulls. Tex Winters. I don't know if it's an S or with an S or without an S, but Tex was the orchestrator of that triangle offense. That was Texas doing all, and Phil said it so much himself. You know what I mean? He's like, Tex is the one who designed that triangle. And you know what? I'm kind of in disagreement with a lot of people say you got to have certain type of players to run that. No, you got to have a certain type of players whose egos, you know what I mean, are held left at the front door, so to speak. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know Mark Jackson built the house. Okay, Steve Kerr just opened the front door, so to speak. But I'm with you though. That coaching, that ego thing, though, brother, which it is I'm not going to diminish it or minimize it, so to speak. It is a big deal because you can have the best laid plans in the world, but if cats is pouting or acting like, what was the one player that I don't even know what team it was for? It might have been for the Cavs. He said he wasn't going in the game. Wasn't that Rodney Hood?
Rodney Hood. Sure.
Yeah. Rodney Hood was like, I ain't going in the game. So, that's ego. Yeah, I guess, so to speak. All right, Double J, this next one is for you. We'll start with you, actually, on this next one. The Women's World Cup soccer. I just saw, and I know this has got you and Brother Rich are big soccer fans, that France beat Brazil 2-1. Is that that's got to be a big deal.
No.
It's not?
No.
Okay, so
Brazil only has Marta, who only is she's one of the best players in the world, but she's kind of on an island there. When you look at it from the men's side, a team that's overloaded, the bigger fact that I want to point out in this is the 75-25 in terms of the investment that Brazil makes in the men's team versus the women's team.
Okay, so it's the men's team that's if in other words if the men let me slow down here a minute. If the France men had beat the Brazilian men, that would be a big deal, is what you're saying.
Even then, France won the most recent World Cup, so I don't know. That's a tough call. But on the men's side, you could make a case it would have been a big deal just to tune in for that game.
Okay. Brother Rich, seeing how we're still here on this women.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I just talked to my in-house soccer expert. We both must admit that we are not following the Women's World Cup as closely as we would have. Nevertheless, and here's why. Because at this stage, with the World Cup, you kind of wait till a knockout stage. Because at this stage, the better teams are, and you rarely find a matchup as good as the one you described. Because Brazil, being one of the foundational world soccer powers, you anticipate that their team is going to present some problems whomever they play. But they're traditional World Cup powers that you always look to show. So when France and Brazil plays, you can be guaranteed there's going to be a good game. Because on both sides, you have, those are traditional world powers. France is always going to be there. Brazil is always going to be there. And their programs have developed, their women's programs, to the point where it's very good. That's why we don't really pay attention initially. You can anticipate that America is going to beat Venezuela or Chile 15-1. So you kind of wait, like NCAA basketball, you wait till
the Sweet 16
we get down
or something.
to now. Where's the Sweet 16? And now we know where the world powers and the big boys are matching up. So it's like that.
So, you got to kind of wait till everything kind of shake itself out, so to speak. Like after the play-in games.
Wait till things shake themselves out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we see, who survived?
Yeah, because, you all just killed the two questions I had, the two little notes I had on this subject. Like, I was going to ask, are they more interesting to watch and more watch-worthy than the men? And then, is the Women's World Cup or even
Absolutely not.
Okay, and even the Men's World Cup in that
instance. I hate to...
Go ahead.
I'm gonna answer this only because this is a prominent subject on the internet.
Okay.
And here's the issue.
Because I got another point I want to ask you about this, but go ahead.
I've been involved in soccer all my life, probably Double J as well, so I'm not dismissing anyone from the conversation. Here's the reality of what I'm saying. I went to a women's soccer game. I didn't go to the game. My sons were playing, and the women were playing. The young ladies were playing. Before then, they were playing club soccer.
Okay.
And the young ladies that were playing before them, Double J, I'm sure you've seen this phenomenal thing. Anybody that's listening can Google this. So it's not that we don't appreciate the women's game. The women's game has elements to it that are fantastic. And Double J, please give me 1 minute to say this. And Double J, if you can take time to show your witness on this. The women do a phenomenal throw-in. There's a part of soccer, I won't go into that, that's called a throw-in. And the women, some of the young ladies, they do a double flip and then throw the ball. And they throw it further than the men with this particular talent that they have.
Really?
I don't know if they're allowed to do it in international. Yes, it's phenomenal. You can see it on YouTube. Google it.
Yeah.
And so there are elements of the women's game that you like, and you watch it and they compete. To say that I have enjoyed a women's USA Brazil game, sure, I've enjoyed that. If I told you that I have enjoyed a USA Brazil game as much as I would enjoy a Brazil-France World Cup final between the men, I would be telling you an absolute falsehood in the name of being proper in today's etiquette. And that's just simply not true. And here's the proof of that. Even women do not support the WNBA as much as they support the NBA. Even women don't support the Women's World Cup as much as women soccer fans are going to be more involved in the World Cup of the men than they will be. And even fathers who have children who are embedded and involved in girls soccer don't watch the World Cup of the women as much as they are anticipating. And we all get involved, and some of us take off work and plan vacations around the men's World Cup because of the level of things involved.
Got you. That's honest. I'm with you on that. I hear and felt where you're coming from on that. But the other part of this question I had was, well, again, it was for the women, but now I'm going to throw the men in there. Is the men's World Cup bigger than the Super Bowl or just as big? World Series, NBA Finals, and NCAA Tournament? Double J?
That's a fair assessment at this point. It's a shame that it's that way, but
whoa!
You know, when you,
whoa! Hold it right there. Now you say it's a shame that it's that way. I couldn't even get it out. What do you mean by that? Break that down for me.
Well, anytime that you put a world game against anything else,
okay, got you.
It should be bigger.
Okay, so a world game against a local game, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've asked that question
however,
before. I don't mean to cut you off. You just made me think about something else. We've asked that question before. How is it that the New England Patriots and the New England, I said it like that on purpose, they can hoist this trophy and call themselves world champions, or even, shucks, the NBA and Major League Baseball, it's the World Series and all of that. Why? They're not, you're playing right here in America. The world would actually literally, I thought, meant world. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, and to your point there that you're making, it's their assessment that they believe when it comes down, it could be from a competition standpoint or just an overall level of talent, that they feel that their product is the best in the world. So I don't believe necessarily that in those circumstances that there's any kind of arrogance necessarily, just because if you look at kind of the flow in which players come in again, a number of different elements, compensation being one specifically, that if there was somebody good from a different league in a different country, they could go and get them. And we see that fairly frequent in baseball or hockey.
All right, good stuff. All right, I mean, I learned a few things here today. I really thought, I was sitting there watching actually France and Brazil, the women's, and I was like, my gosh, the celebrations after, I don't know her name. Of course, I don't know anybody's names, but the young lady scored the goal, and my goodness, I thought it was like the Little League World Series. And speaking of sidebar, Little League World Series, do you think the Little League World Series is just as big as the Super Bowl and World Series and NBA Finals or NCAA Tourney? Because that's a big deal. No? All right.
Well, Jay, as I'm often want to do, I need to remind your listeners that there's nothing on the planet, and this can be Googled in 10 seconds flat. There's nothing, no sporting event singular on the planet that's as big as the World Cup. The World Cup compared to the World Cup final compared to the Super Bowl is dwarfed probably 100 times over.
Really?
Billions of people watch. This is a fact. You can Google this on your smartphone right now.
Gotcha.
Billions of people watch the World Cup. Hundreds of millions of people watch the Super Bowl. Hundreds of millions of people. America, it compares only in one regard, and this is why people all over the world know the New England Patriots and they know all these American football teams, simply because America's economy pales the rest of the world. Her dollar is mightier power. We have the most powerful military that's ever been in existence, and that dwarfs everyone else. So in terms of comparison, anything you win in America, we have the right to say. We feel we have the right to say, the inherent right to say, the prolific right to say, we got the world. This is the world championship.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. And you know what? Right quick, Brother Rich, Double J won't tell you this, but he posted something on Facebook. Double J, were you playing FIFA? Where were you playing FIFA? And the guy scored the goal.
FIFA, yeah.
Yeah, he was playing FIFA, and Double J got beat. Oh, my gosh. He had a fit.
No.
Yeah, he got whooped on, man.
Oh, that's not what happened. It was a FIFA fail. It was a fail.
Oh,
video.
stop it. You know what? You know what? Stop blaming it on the controller. The controller, you meant to flick left and it went right on you somehow, some way. Is that? I'm putting you on blast, Double J. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm putting you on blast. And what was the score anyway? Who are you playing with? Tell us that much at least.
This was my career mode. Again, a joystick GM.
Yeah. Oh, it was your career mode. Okay, got you. Yeah, well, if I was you, I'd cancel that career. Okay, up next.
I'm the David Griffin in FIFA.
Oh, stop it. How did I know that was coming next? All right, you and this David Griffin thing. Boy, I tell you. The Los Angeles Lakers. Brother Rich, we're going to throw this one at you, man. You can start this one off for us. Man, give me your take on these whole cap ramifications of the AD deal. Because there are reports out there now that Pelinka was, and this is my word, clueless. No, actually, I think I seen an article where they use this word as well. Pelinka was clueless about where the AD trade would leave the Lakers, in terms of that whole Max deal or whatnot. Break that down for me, man.
Well, Jay, and I'm going to sound controversial, but this is the platform to say it. In 5 years from now, people will say that David Griffin fleeced the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, I'm saying it 5 minutes from now.
One of the first, you put me in one of the categories of the first people. I believe that we got, as a franchise, as a Laker fan, I have to put myself in the we category. I believe as a franchise, the Los Angeles Lakers got fleeced in that deal. The other thing that I believe is that David Griffin understands very clearly that this is what's going on in the league. That there has been a shift. I do not believe that for one instance, 1 second, and I happen to have some personal, intimate knowledge of what happened many years ago, 17 years ago, when he was first drafted, and him wearing that suit. There was not a coincidental occurrence of that young man, Zion Williamson, wearing that color suit to his draft night. There was not a coincidental circumstance surrounding all of these backdoor understandings of Pelinka not understanding the ramifications of the fact that David Griffin rushed him into a deal, and because he thought he was getting the ultimate prize, he didn't really understand what he was doing, and so he got fleeced in the deal. And so now I say this, and I'll finish with this, and I'll leave it like this. But whenever you bring this up again, there is a concerted effort on behalf of the NBA to move the NBA's focus away from LeBron James in particular, and now just do some things to damage his legacy for what they perceive was his agent's disrespect of the National Basketball Association last season. And it has begun with Zion Williamson and David Griffin being put in New Orleans.
I do not disagree with that. And let me tell you something right quick. Double J, before you weigh in. It irks me to no end. Excuse me. I'm hearing from Cavs fans in regards to this whole thing. And they quick to diminish the ones I talk to anyway. Quick to diminish what Lonzo Ball can be, what Ingram is, and so on and so forth, as if to say they still got that they still got that connection to Bron. You get what I'm saying? Even though he in L.A. I said, man, David Griffin fleeced them dudes. Oh, well, yeah, but guess what, though? But, Ingram got that blood clot, so, I guess. And then Lonzo, he wasn't all that at UCLA anyway. I was like, dag, man. At the end of the day, wait a minute. If the Cavs had done whatever it is, it would be a whole different story. I'm so sick and tired. I'm so sick and tired. There's nothing wrong with repping your city and repping your team. But stop making excuses for every move that they make, man. Like they can't do nothing wrong. Like everything they do is right. Everything they do is right. No, that's what I mean by fandom. Your fandom and this fantasy has become reality. No, man. Hey, look, do what you do, say what you say. But don't sit here and try to make up stuff or make it. I mean, I told y'all about this lady I know who had a son. Y'all might, not you all, but them folks out there who might be listening, they don't think it's relevant, but I'm telling you, she used to make excuses for everything he did, man. He couldn't do nothing wrong. And guess how long he been in prison? Longer than y'all sons been alive combined. Get what I'm trying to tell you? Now, that might be extreme, but you get the point. I hope you do. Ain't nothing y'all gonna poo-poo on everything. What happened to high draft picks? Last time I checked, and they say, well, they kept Kuzma. But initially, Kuzma was in the deal. So it ain't like they wasn't going to give him up, too, at one point. I'm just saying, man. But I see why Magic got up out of there. You know what I mean? Because somebody to knock down the low-bearing wall, he's like, man, I'm up out of his piece, man. Double J, go ahead and have you say, man.
Wow, how do I follow that up, right? No, you're absolutely right. The reality of it was this: I had jumped on a different program because I was hearing someone that essentially wanted David Griffin to take the Atlanta Hawks approach, and it's not to knock the two players that they've gotten. I'm going to leave them unnamed for that particular reason. It has nothing to do with them.
Gotcha.
But you're talking about a team that is not in position to contend for a title next season. So when you look at it from that regard, and you had conversations internally with your ownership where everyone's on the same page and we understand that we're building something that's sustainable and something that's going to last. So, again, the key here is consistency. You're shooting for the Green Bay Packers model for the most part until, late, but for the last 20 years they've been in this thing. So, he took the right approach. Like I said, if he would have drafted someone at number 4, I would have been a disbelief. And again, it didn't happen. So while you can make have some criticism of who he drafted later in the first round, personally, you got to fill out the bench. Some way, somehow, these guys do have upside. But when you're drafting later in the first round and in the second round, you're not asking for. You're looking for Lou Williams. You're not looking for Michael Jordan.
You know what, Double J? I'm glad you said that way because you just made me think of something else. This is an added question. Brother Rich, this is for both of you all, but I'm going to start with you, Brother Rich. Based on the draft, okay, and the teams that were in the draft here, okay, well, they all were in the draft, which team, in your estimation, drafted in line with the George Karl philosophy, building a team and then to let a star emerge, as opposed to vice versa? New Orleans? Okay, Brother Rick.
Orleans.
What about you, Double J?
New Orleans,
yeah,
first and foremost.
Yeah, I would say that too. As a matter of fact, I don't even have all of that in front of me. But at the end of the day, man, I saw
Double Jay, you made me respect David Griffin. I didn't, but these moves he made with this, I thought these were masterful. You used to try to tell me to pay attention to him. I never really saw him as that phenomenal until what he's done with this trade. I'm telling you. Look, the man came right out and said, I've never seen this in the history of basketball. The man came right out and gave a press conference saying, Zion Williamson is not the savior of this team. He's a 19-year-old kid. Let him grow. That's crazy. This is Drew Holiday's team. That is amazing. You don't hear people doing that. He's going to be allowed to develop. He's around young talent. Look who he brought in. He brought in people with something to prove. Whether we believe it or not, Zoe has something to prove now. B.I. has something to prove. Josh Hart has something to prove. And all of them, to a man, is they're happy to be out away from the toxic circumstance that is being in the King's court. That's just a fact.
That's the problem I got.
So
they act like this dude is not toxic, man. Please. I know nobody here on this panel today is a psychiatrist or probably even took psychology. But somebody help me, in layman's terms, understand why is it that the folks who champion for this guy, man, act like that he's not toxic?
Because, Jay, he's not toxic. The environment around him is toxic. And here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean. Jay, all medicine is toxic. Every medicine, every medication that we could take to heal us has a toxic side to it. So it goes bad, or you can't take it, or you can't overtake it. So this is a young man that has he's a tremendous amount of power. That's just a fact. He wields a tremendous amount of influence. He's a king. That's a fact. You can't take away LeBron's throne. I don't think LeBron is not the GOAT, but LeBron is a king. LeBron has made a lot of African-American, a lot of young black men rich. He's taught people to handle their business. He's been a great, tremendous role model as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a social justice warrior. You can't take those things away from him. Just because I don't think that LeBron is as good as Kobe or Michael Jordan doesn't mean I don't understand that that's a king. That's a young king. And as a young king, you have to understand if you're going to be around a king, please don't think he a king, because his daddy told him he a king too. I thought he was going to be a king because he came from Kentucky. Right. I don't know what Josh Hart thought he was. Kuzma definitely think he a king because he got game. He under Kobe. He's a student of Kobe. So, but you're under LeBron now. So you got to understand, no, we do it my way. I don't need all this king. I'm a king. You just pass me. I'll pass you the ball. You just be ready to shoot. This is how we play here. And that's why if you look at, he had the perfect team in Cleveland. Perfect team. They all understood.
Deferred.
LeBron is the boss.
Yeah. Double J, what about you, man?
Well, again, Brother Rich, I'm going to just follow up on his point. No matter what it is, there's certain expectations or certain picture that he's trying to create. And until he foresees that he's executed that, you're going to constantly see change. With any genius, if you will, you look, in many different, quote unquote geniuses, from Einstein to Beethoven, they were all very different. And you may even throw Kanye West in there.
Stop it. Don't start. Double J, you about to get the bail.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Double J.
Oh, stop. You know what? You soccer fans, my gosh. World Cup. Go ahead, continue.
And so, it's very difficult for the majority of folks to understand what their vision is, and it's very easy to point the finger and say they're the problem rather than us not being capable of seeing what their solution is. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. However, when you've gone the route that he has, and he's only achieved success in a number of certain circumstances, and more often than not, he's been on the opposite side of that. That's when you, as a human, have to look yourself in the mirror and start looking at alternatives or different approaches as a whole. I get it. He's the greatest player in the world, hypothetically. But Father Time is also undefeated.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all didn't ask me, because the translation of all that you said and Brother Richard just said, narcissism is an affliction for which there is no cure. Ta-da! Y'all was being real nice about it. I'm glad I didn't weigh in, because we'd be here till tomorrow. Anywho, I got this next one here. I was going to kind of leave this one out, but I think I'm going to throw it in there, man, because the guy just impressed me, man. We haven't talked a lot of baseball here on the program and the platform, because with all this NBA stuff going on and a few football here, and, of course, Brother Richard's Dog Pound. Give us a woof, woof. See, you missed your cue. See what I'm saying? And when I don't cue you up,
No.
What you going to say? Dog Pound? That Dog Pound? Woof, woof? Yeah, okay, anyway. Right, when I don't cue you up, you know what I'm saying, you're all in it. But got a little baseball here, man. Max Scherzer. Washington Nationals Ace. This past Tuesday now, and here's why I found this to be interesting. Because, you know, we talk about these new age athletes nowadays, man. You know, they get manicures and pedicures, but they don't want to, they don't want to fly on the commercial plane. They don't want to do this, they don't want to do that, but they want more, but they want to do less. You know, everybody a little mentally fragile. Well, guess what Max Scherzer did last Tuesday? He broke his nose. He was practicing on his bunt. He was in bunting practice Tuesday. Say that fast 3 times. Broke his nose practicing bunting on Tuesday. Say that fast 3 times. Then Wednesday, the next day, he goes out, works 7 scoreless, allowed 4 hits, 2 walks with 10 Ks. Man, is that domination or what? But here's the killer part. Did you see his eye? Have you all seen a picture of what just happened to him? Did you, Double J?
No, sir.
I sure did. Of course, he's a former Tiger.
Oh, boy. He just this Detroit thing. What is going on with this Michigan thing? Yeah, I hope Jim Harbaugh get fired. But anyway, yeah, man. So I'm looking at this guy's face, man, and he looked like Petey, the dog from the Little Rascals. Now you tell me, name me one other player, aside from football, the NFL, I'm picking on the NBA again, that would have happened to, and they would have went back out and did what they did. I'm talking about this modern NBA. That's what I thought. Oh, but you know what? I'll throw one in there. Van Vliet got his tooth knocked out or something or another. Got right back into action. So kudos to him. You know what I mean? So when we talk about domination and dominant and what this guy is and what that guy is, ain't, and all of that, man, I look at dudes like this, man. Come on, man. You break your nose. You break your nose and you get right back out there. I'm sorry, fellas. Baseball is one of them sports. It might be slow, but if you're a pitcher, man, can you imagine what your insurance policy got to be? What's the insurance policy on a pitcher, a Major League Baseball pitcher, WJ? You know by any chance off the top of your head? No?
Oh, man. I mean, think about it for a second. You got to – it's like a car times 10.
Yes.
Because unless it's a Bugatti, then you start talking in the neighborhood of what a high-end pitcher, can put it for an insurance policy because there's so many different elements to it. I'm the arm.
Yeah, and I'm saying that for the simple fact, you standing 60 feet away from a guy like an Albert Pujols, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, by the way, I think. He should be in the Hall of Fame right now, even while he's still playing. Albert Pujols is that good to me, or in my opinion. But you standing 60 feet away from a guy like Albert Pujols, and you throw him a slider that missed, and he hit it right back at you. Man, you tell me your heart not jumping out your chest every time these guys come up to the plate, man. Wouldn't you not want to?
Absolutely.
I mean, my gosh. That's what I meant by insurance policy. Man, my insurance policy had to be $500 million or something. Man, every time, the risk and the chance you take for a guy to hit a ball. And we've seen that happen a couple of times this year already. I don't forget, what was it, the Mets pitcher, I believe? It might have been Boston, the Red Sox pitcher. I don't know. We talked about it, too, though, a couple of weeks back. Guy hit the ball, and the pitcher barely, it went right under his chin. Man, you got to have cat-like reflexes, man. You got to have cat-like reflexes. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, man, kudos to my man Max Scherzer. Oh, and Washington won the game. They was playing Philly, by the way, 2-0. And I had to throw that in there, too, on top of the fact that, the MLB All-Star Game is being held in Cleveland this year, 2019. Brother Richard, you coming?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Double J, what about you?
Because, I gotta wait to travel for the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh.
Celebration.
Okay, now you want to talk the Browns? Now? I'm looking at my watch here. I cued you. That was 12 minutes ago. Stay with me now. Stay with me. You know what, Brother Rich? I might just give you the bell, man, just because. It's time for you to go. Y'all got to get the heck up out of here. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. So, Double J, you coming to the All-Star game in Cleveland?
Yeah, my uncle does a lot of the filming for it.
Really?
So, I'll probably, I'll make my way down there.
Really, really, really good. I'm so glad I'll be out of town then. Anywho, you and Brother Rich in this Super Bowl thing, I do not want to see you all until after the parade. How about that? Is that okay? Good. Yeah, that's how funny. All right. Let's now get to this whole ESPN and LeVar Ball issue. Now, I did not see this particular episode because I told you I don't watch the stuff no more. I didn't see this particular episode where LeVar Ball allegedly or supposedly or reportedly made some sort of comment to Molly. How do you pronounce her last name, Double J? Kerim? Querim? Am I pronouncing that right? Is it spelled? Is it pronounced the way it's spelled? Say that again.
Yeah, we'll roll with that.
Okay, got you. All right, Molly Kerim. He made some comment, and that ESPN took immediate. I mean, their response was immediate in removing him or saying that he was not to be on any ESPN platform from that moment on. And I'm like, wow. Now, again, I didn't see it, but I read it. Apparently, this dude said something. Molly, because, you know, they get to going on and on and on, too, from my understanding here lately. And she was trying to switch up, you know, go to another topic or whatever. And she mentioned something about switching gears, going to another topic. And don't quote me, but LeVar's response was, yeah, we can switch gears anytime or something to that effect. Now, Brother Richard, if you know a little bit more about that, would you please fill us in now before I go any further?
Well, I happen to have had to know about it because of the circumstances surrounding LeVar Ball. And, of course, it was one of those things I was able to follow up on YouTube. As I tell you, I get a lot of my stuff from YouTube.
Gotcha.
And so I watched the whole interaction, and it trended on Twitter for a little while, so I got caught up with it. And it again, you got me saying that, look, ESPN and the major platforms have never liked LeVar Ball.
Of course
they used LeVar Ball initially as a circus clown kind of effect until they found out he, in his own way, was a super promoter of his own product, his own brand, and he was using that platform to hype his own brand. And when he and his children became no more of an item and an issue, it becomes a thing. And I think that if you look at the clip, as I did on YouTube, what I took from it was this. I think that Molly Kerim is, and her name is Molly Kerim Rose because she's married to Jalen
Rose. Got you.
She is the it. Yeah, she's the it girl at ESPN in terms of being the hot, pretty woman.
Okay.
And her mixed ethnicity and all that kind of stuff renders her in this class of exotic beauty. And so the natural attitude and aptitude is to think that everybody wants her, everybody's after her. And if you know LeVar Ball, you know that he's a man that is absolutely openly devoted to his wife, his children, his family. He's a very open family man. He's not known as that. And the communication was not of a quote-unquote sexual nature. So most people think, who are rational sounding, and there's a lot of banter on Twitter about it, that most people are telling them ESPN owes that man an apology because they really did make too much of it. It's simply, do you want to switch gears with me? And he said, yeah, I'll switch gears with you anytime. Just switch subjects, you know. And he said he meant switching subjects. And there's this photo, videotape evidence of her having used that kind of language in the past with people.
Yes,
so
I was going to mention that next. Yes,
yeah,
in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
That doesn't watch. Yeah, that
or 2018 or something like that. Yeah. And see,
yeah, when he was on Colin Howard's show.
Yeah. So in other words, if I'm hearing you right, Brother Rich, they was trying to find a way to get him up out the mix anyway, and they try to use this.
I had a teacher. Without a doubt, I had a teacher once that told me, "Look, if people are trying to get rid of you, don't give them the nail. You know, if they're trying to put you up on the cross, don't give them the nail. You know, they already." So in his case, they've been trying to get rid of him. He just gave him the nail. You know, and so now you can use this under the guise of the Me Too movement. The first reaction is, you know, take it like the woman that she felt it, and now women rally around her because she felt like that, and she's saying she felt. Mind you, I follow Jalen Rose on Twitter. I haven't heard him say anything about it. He hasn't mentioned anything about it. It's his wife. It's anybody, you know. But we're not even allowed to say that. Look, it doesn't look like today and again, I'm thankful for this platform because it's not ESPN. It's not sponsored by the military-industrial complex or the NBA or this one. You can say these kind of things that, look, no, they do owe that man an apology. It's clear he didn't mean anything by that.
And see, again, I have to go back and look at it. But I try my darndest, and I really don't like using that word, but, man, I ain't going to say try. I made it a point, man. The only time I really, Brother Rich, you already know, I watch the specific networks, NFL, NBA TV, you know what I mean? Because for the most part, when I'm watching them networks, I can have I got a pen and a pad. You know what I mean? I can find something or pull something from something that's been said there that, like we just talked about last week about what Mike Fratello said on Steph's last shot. Okay, yes, is that his shot? That's like a layup for him. But was there time for something else? See, that kind of stuff. Okay, now I'm write that down. You get what I'm trying to tell you? But first take and no disrespect to John Bucci Gross and all them other guys, I'm just not interested because it's all fodder. It's novelty. It's spectacular. It's bells and whistles and circus act and all of that, and it lacks the substance that it once had when my man cats like Stuart Scott was up on there. Shucks, what was the other guy? What was Keith Olbermann even? You know what I mean? It's the circus. It's a circus, and which in part. And I'm going to go back and check it out or whatever it is. I just find it real ironic, so to speak, that ESPN has become a circus. And, I mean, not even, a couple of years ago they had a list of folks that they fired. You know what I mean? For all, it's a lot of bass, awkward stuff going on, crazy stuff going on. So you are a circus. If you think LeBar was being circusful, how you get rid of him for doing something, for being what you already are is what I'm saying. Does that make any sense? I just thought it was, just from what I've read, I was like, wow, that's low. It's weak on their part. Double J, what did you say? What you got to say about all of that? And do you know what LeVar said?
Definitely have to side with. I'm siding with LeVar here.
Okay.
I mean, and again, all of us at this point have gotten very familiar with him. Of course, ESPN. Yeah. Love him or hate him, you have to. Numbers never lie, and that's where his ratings are nothing but through the roof. Well, I will say this: he didn't flirt with her, but Dennis Rodman surely did on Friday.
My gosh.
So hear that.
You mean the same Dennis Rodman? With all due respect to him on the court, it's thing like you talking about the same Dennis Rodman who was wearing a dress once upon a time. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. What'd you say? Finish. What'd you say? Shucks. I don't know. Yeah. Dennis don't know what he want to be.
I think this is just the ability to say, look, we're trying to get rid of this guy, and this is simply what ensures that he stays out of at least this particular program. And likely he's going to have a disdain towards ESPN moving forward, which I think can hurt them substantially more than it could help them. Because I don't feel that ESPN had to go to this level to try to get him to get away. Mm-hmm. But with LaMelo, specifically, if you fast forward a year from now, LaMelo's in this draft, it's going to hurt quite a bit if your number one pick does not want to talk to ESPN.
Oh, good one. Oh, that's a good one, ain't it, Brother Rich?
No. And that's absolutely about to happen. But see, here's the thing: they believe that that's not going to be an issue because we're entering the Zion Williamson era. And that's why I'm telling you. I mentioned earlier, they've made a point to let us know that we've entered the Zion Williamson era, and so they don't anticipate that a LaMelo Ball. They're going to do everything they can to keep him from being one, in their estimation, one of those high draft picks. It just so happens that I agree with Double J that he will end up being one of those unmistakable, unbelievable talents that you can't pass up. Better than his brother because he's 6'8". He's got a different kind of skill set. He's bigger. He's got that ball body in truth already naturally, and he's got a different kind of heart than his big brother Alonzo. So I agree with Double J. They're going to have an issue on their hand when a player of that caliber does not want to deal with you on draft night because what we do know about these greedy owners, they're not going to pass up on an unmistakable talent like that. So ultimately, he's going to get drafted, and I agree with you that there's going to be an issue with that.
But you know what, Double J, you bring up a very, very, very interesting point because LaMelo, let's say we get to that, and he don't want to holler at ESPN. That could be we might be on the verge of seeing some sort of, like with Marshawn Lynch and the Russell Westbrook type deal, because a lot of them guys are starting to do that to media members now. Because Brother Rich, you already know. You know what my acronym for? You know what it is?
Right.
DAQ, D-A-Q, dumb asked questions. You understand? Don't come to me asking me about, do you think Le'Veon Bell should be holding out? Man, we just lost on the last second field goal. If you ain't asking me about the game, man, kick rocks. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not looking. It's not you in here. You in this NFL locker room or you in this NBA locker room. You ain't even talking about the NBA. You're not talking about the sport. You want to ask me about some drama. Guys are getting tired of that. Will we, Double J? This is for you now. Do you think we'll see more guys? Should LaMelo, and I would love to see LaMelo Ball. Oh, that would be the ultimate finger. Excuse me, mama, my French fries, but that would be the ultimate finger. And I think ESPN really needs one, to tell you the truth. Do you think more guys, more cats coming out, like we seeing guys going overseas to play, so to speak? Do you think more guys might start doing that to the media?
Well, yeah, you're seeing a change in the era and philosophy that there's more platforms, which means there's more microphones, which means there's more
exposure.
Ultimately, exactly, too. Yeah. And also choice. There's more choices, which allows you to pick and choose because, again, you are the athlete. They want to pick your brain. But, again, depending on who they are, you can start all the way at the top. Love them or hate them, but look at our own president with how he treats CNN. Yeah. And it will not shock me with LaMelo when he says, oh, no, you wanted to treat my father this way and you think I'm going to answer anything to yours? Any question that you may have? Never. And at that point, on a live camera, and then as he makes his way towards Fox or anyone else, that could be the nail in the coffin to ESPN as a whole.
I totally agree.
I would love
LeBron. We don't know what Zion is going to do, and LeBron's era is closing. And the next name on the ledger to come forward, because the next athlete. Remember, we've known Zion is coming for a while. We've heard his name on the line since he was in high school. So now the next name is exactly what Double J is saying. The next name that's going to be big in any draft coming up is going to be LaMelo Ball. There's going to be some guy in high school or college that comes. But in terms of a name that we already know and are familiar with, that we're expecting to come up in the draft, it's LaMelo Ball. And what if he does exactly what Double J says and says, look, I'm the number one let's say he's the number one draft pick, and he says, I will never do any platform that's related to ESPN. I'm just like you said, love him or hate him, and I personally love that he does this to the mass media. Trump speaks for himself. He has his own. You go to his Twitter page. I follow him on Twitter, and people can say he tweets crazy, but if it's something he wants to say, he will say it himself. So it's not.
I can't argue that.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
He do. The dude say it. But here, let me ask you this question now, Brother Rich, since how you mentioned that. Do you think in any shape, form, fashion possible the NBA would have something to say? See, well, I mean, you know what I mean? Would they have something to say about that? Kind of like force his hand to say something?
Of course they would. But here's the thing. He has a contract. That's why they have to come to pregame. Post-game press conference, because that's in your contract. Okay. You have to make X amount of media appearances a year. Right. All of them have to do that. But if you see the players like a Kawhi Leonard, and this is why I think, and I always say, I always say, you have to commend LeBron James because he showed the players their power. So each player is developing their own media platform. So Kevin Durant has his shows that are developing. LeBron has his shows. Kobe has. Everybody's getting their own platform so they can tell their own stories. So in other words, I can get my own message across. I have to make these obligatory media press conferences, but I'll sit there and say, yes, no, I'm not answering that question. And just what Double J is saying, you're going to see more and more of that, which is going to mean the ultimate end of those platforms, because then you don't need to tune into those platforms anymore, because you know that what you're getting on those platforms is the bare minimum. So you'll be tuning into the players' platforms or other platforms like the Shop Report, where you're actually getting real conversations around what you really know is going on, and you want to talk about that the ESPN reporter cannot or will not air.
Yeah, that man, I can't watch it no more. I tried to watch First Take, and I started watching First Take when it was cold pizza. You remember that with Jay Crawford and Dana Jacobson, I think was his name, or whatever the name was. So I was on board from the beginning. Yeah. But then maybe it's because,
Sadly,
go ahead, what you say?
Sadly, the worst today is Shannon Sharp. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about him right now because we getting ready to get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
It's those kind of things.
You would prefer Jason Whitlock over Shannon Sharp?
I don't want neither one of them. Would you prefer Barbershop Jay over Shannon Sharp, Shannon Whitlock?
I absolutely prefer Barbershop Jay.
Okay, thank you.
Barbershop Jay, I know he's going to give me some measure of balance because that other stuff is just ridiculous. He sounds like he has pom-poms on the sideline.
Man, it's terrible.
I mean, I don't care.
It's terrible.
If somebody says LeBron took a shower, he'll say, that's the greatest shower of all time. It's the greatest shower any player ever it is. And the soap that he used, I just would like to get a little bit of the soap. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Terrible.
It is. And to me, and I don't say I'm better than nobody else or nothing like that, but having a background in journalism, I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? Because, the essence of journalism is writing. You know what I mean? And understanding the pen is mightier than the sword. There's no truer expression as far as I'm concerned. Because words can, you can say words, and we've had this discussion before. But all I'm saying is, when I put together the things I'd like to discuss with you all on this show and discuss with people, I try to put some thought into it. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? And it comes from a place greater than me, so to speak. I want to really engage in conversation. I want to really get folks, reactions to stuff that, we can keep it going, stuff that's got some substance to it. And I be looking at the line of questioning, the topic, the subject matter they come up with. Man, do you think if he had his blue shoes on that he should have wore his green ones and they would have won game 3? That type of shit. I'm like, what? I said, oh, man, I can't watch it, man. I can't watch it because at the end of the day, you end up, and this is one of my favorite cartoons, and my youngest daughters, by the way, Teen Titans. You end up looking like Beast Boy when he was sitting in front of the TV with his eyes swirling black and white and drool coming out the corner of his mouth. Man, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not substituting real reality with television reality. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. You go to the search box and you type in the Shop Report. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and, of course, via email, theshopreport365@gmail.com. We are still having issues with our Google Play, but we are on Spotify as well. And if you're out there listening or you listen to the program later on, if you don't mind, you go to, if you have Android, didn't I mention this before? But if I did, forgive me for being redundant. You've got Android, you go to the Play Store and you go, I think it's Spreaker Podcast app or something like that it is. If you like, you download that and you can hit follow and you can follow the program. And if you have iPhone, you go to the App Store and do the same thing. And, of course, if that don't work, you can Google it. For my guest, Brother Rich from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park, and my man up north, Double J, and all those who follow us on social media, we say thank you for your support. I'm Barbershop J, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.